No, seriously, we have to talk about this. What do you want?
You never answer a question like that.
I have now seen you naked.
What kind of interview is this?
In a world where agenda-driven narratives dominate, celebrities often find themselves facing interviewers who prioritize drama over dialogue. But every now and then, the tables turn, and these so-called gotcha moments backfire spectacularly. And some creepy interviewers go out of their way to cross the line, especially with female guests. But this creepiness does nothing but make them look like total jerks in the eyes of the audience. Here are 10 times when disrespectful woke interviewer got owned instantly. Starting off with the time when Lil Hayes' absurd line of questioning about his company's finances pushed Jordan Belfort to the edge, prompting him to walk out mid-interview.
To me, they have very little credibility right now. I've been trying to settle this thing for years, and they've essentially stonewalled me at every step. So I've said enough about this. Let's move on.
Let me ask you this one thing.
Let's move on, okay? Honestly, I'm ready. I'm not going to get attacked here. You're here, so I'm done with this. Next.
I'm not attacking you.
No, but honestly,
I'm just.
You're a very nice woman, but you're starting to get to the point. It's obviously just a hatchet shop here, so I'm kind of pretty much ready to move on.
There's nothing hatchet about it.
Well, to me there is.
Well, the last thing is that apparently you have an oral contract with your management, the Fordham Company. Is that an attempt to hide your income?
Next question.
I think the peanut gallery is going to start shining really quickly. We've been audited.
I think you can air what you want here out of this interview. It's done. Oh my God, you got a lot of nerve, boy. I'll tell you. Honestly, really. Honestly.
Why
really,
can't I
that
ask
is
these
honestly,
questions?
and I was told this was a friendly, nice interview, and no one has ever treated me as disrespectfully as you have, really. Okay?
Similar to her was the next cocky interviewer who kept throwing accusatory remarks at Joan Rivers. But Joan, never one to stay silent, showed there's a limit to what one can tolerate. She shut the interviewer down and walked out, leaving a lasting impression.
And people love to laugh. I mean, clearly that's why people love you. But they also know that you have some shock value to you. I mean, you're on the cover of your book. You're wearing a fur, and you knew that there would probably be animal rights activists.
This whole interview is becoming a defensive interview.
No!
Are you wearing leather shoes?
Yes!
Shut up.
I'm talking.
You know what I mean? I don't want to hear. You're wearing fur. You're wearing leather shoes.
I'm not an activist,
You're eating chicken.
Yeah.
You're eating meat. I don't want to hear this nonsense. Come to me with a paper belt, and I'll talk to you.
But you did hear it in some of those press conferences. There were people who were upset, and you're just saying,
no, I'm going. I really am going, because all you have done is negative.
No.
All you have done is negative. I haven't heard negative. I make people laugh for 50 years. I am put on earth to make people laugh. My book is funny. I wear fur that was killed 15 years ago. I work for animal rights. Stop it with, and you do this, and you're mean, and you're that. You are not the one to interview a person who does humor. Sorry.
are we serious?
Next, we have Elon Musk, who isn't one to back down. When a BBC interviewer tried to frame him by claiming he promotes hate speech, Elon flipped the script with sharp cross-questioning, exposing the nonsense and leaving the interviewer scrambling for words. Just watch.
Do you think you prioritize freedom of speech over misinformation and hate speech?
Well, you know, who's to say that something is misinformation? Who's the arbiter of that? Is it the BBC?
You're literally asking me?
Yes.
Well, no, you are
the
arbiter on Twitter, because you own Twitter.
Yes, I'm saying, who is to say that one person's misinformation is another person's information? The point at which you said that there is, this is misinformation, like, who is going to decide that?
You accept that misinformation can be dangerous, that it can cause real world harms, that it can potentially cause...
Yes, and the point I'm trying to make is that the BBC itself has, at times, published things that are false. Do you agree that that has occurred?
I'm quite sure the BBC have said things before that turn out to not be true.
Correct.
In its, whatever it is, 100-year history, I'm quite sure.
Yes. Even if you aspire to be accurate, there are times when you will not be.
We've spoken to people very recently who were involved in moderation, and they just say there's not enough people to police this stuff, particularly around hate speech in the company.
What hate speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter.
Right.
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
but just a personal anecdote. Like, what do you? I don't.
Personally, my For You, I would see I get more of that kind of content. Yeah, personally. But I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally.
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Content you don't like or hateful. What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content, and I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I
don't.
You
can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that For You feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
But you said
a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a second. You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
then how did you see that hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen the For You hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
then I say so that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed.
You just lied.
What I claimed was. There are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my feed or not, I mean, right, and
literally
you can look at something like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK. They will say that. So
look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But
then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know there's hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time. COVID misinformation. You changed the COVID misinformation.
Has BBC changed its COVID misinformation?
The BBC does not set the rules on Twitter, so I'm asking you.
No, I'm talking about the BBC's misinformation about COVID.
I'm literally asking you about, you changed the labels, the COVID misinformation labels. There used to be a policy, it then disappeared. Why do that?
Well, COVID is no longer an issue. Does the BBC hold itself at all responsible for misinformation regarding masking and side effects of vaccinations, and not reporting on that at all? And what about the fact that the BBC was put under pressure by the British government to change its editorial policy? Are you aware of that?
This is not an interview about the BBC.
Oh, so. You thought it wasn't?
I see now why you've done Twitter Spaces. I am not a representative of the BBC's editorial policy. I want to make that clear.
It's insane that the interviewer claimed to have seen a rise in hate speech since Elon took over Twitter, but when Elon asked for a single example, he couldn't provide one. What's even more insane is how these interviewers get away with asking such bizarre and inappropriate questions. Like this instance where one interviewer had the audacity to ask Scarlett Johansson about her undergarments on national TV.
Are you able to wear undergarments?
You're like the fifth person that's asking
that. Well, no,
that
because
what is going on? Since when did people start asking each other in interviews about their underwear?
No, because it is such a skin tight.
I'll leave it up to your imagination.
Oh, see?
Okay?
Is that
whatever you feel like I should be wearing or not wearing under that costume?
This is not a.
Is what I.
Is it inappropriate?
To ask somebody what kind of underpants they wear?
I didn't ask you what kind.
You just asked me if I was wearing any.
Could you?
No, what do you wear underneath?
Like, what do you wear underneath something
Overalls.
Like that? Do you wear clothes?
You wear dungarees. You can't wear clothes under it. It's like a wetsuit.
Okay.
Practically.
Right. So you answered my question.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit more than a wetsuit. Was I wearing underwear? I mean, gosh, ask Joss.
I did.
You asked Joss what kind of underwear he wears?
No.
What?
What kind of interview is this?
If you thought that was inappropriate, wait until you see this next interview. It became unbearably awkward thanks to the pervy host, who couldn't stop looking at the guest inappropriately. But Sandra Bullock wasn't having it and called them out for their obnoxious behavior.
Sandra Bullock, good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's been 2 years since you've been here.
Has it?
It has been. March, I think 15th, the Ides of March.
Are you counting?
I am. It's been hard.
Sad.
It's been hard. The major thing that's changed since you were here last?
Yes.
I have now seen you naked.
And I'm so sorry about that.
I have seen you naked.
Were you able to sleep afterwards? Why are you looking down?
It's now my screensaver.
Why did you look down
I
when
was
you said
looking at
that?
my notes.
Not your notes are not over here.
They were right there.
That would be this.
They
You
were
went
right
like that.
there. I didn't go like this. I went like this.
I'm just saying.
He was later fired after multiple instances of acting like a creep. Next, we have Sean Strickland, a professional UFC fighter, who fearlessly calls out and shuts down the woke media for their agenda-driven narratives, especially those targeting our kids.
You're in Toronto. Welcome. Glad to hear it. It's been great.
Are you Canadian?
Of course I am.
Are you part of the fucking opposition? Are you?
I don't know how to phrase that.
You got like fucking. Yeah.
Well, I did want to ask.
Did you vote for Trudeau?
I'm not going to say.
And let me tell you something right now. If a man says he's not going to say, like, if you ask him, motherfucker, did you vote for Biden? He's like, well, I'm not going to say. That's none of your business. He voted for fucking Biden.
Sean,
so hey,
Sean, I'm glad you've had great experiences.
So this is what I'm talking about, you guys. The enemy of Canada.
Sure. All right. That's what it's got to be. It's got to be. We've got a pretty supportive gay and lesbian community in this city. I did want to ask you about something you wrote a couple of years ago. You said if I had a gay son, I would think I'd.
Oh, look, another. I'm saying to you, the swamp, you guys, the swamp.
You become a champion, you become a star, and someone says.
Let me ask you something. Are you gay?
Have you had the chance to interact with a more diverse crowd of...
Let me know. Are you gay?
Could I get an answer?
Well, no, I'm asking. This is a part of. Are you a gay man?
I'm an ally of the community.
Okay. If you had a son and he was like, you had a son, he was gay, you'd be like, oh man, you don't want a grandkid?
No problem with it.
Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak fucking man, dude. You're part of the fucking problem. You elected Justin Trudeau, like, when he sees the bank accounts, like, you're just fucking pathetic, and the fact that you have no fucking backbone. And has he shut down your fucking country and seized bank accounts? You ask me some stupid shit like that, go fuck yourself. Move the fuck on, man.
I feel like that doesn't really answer the question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community. You said this past October when they announced the Bud Light sponsorship that you'd go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight, they'll have to accept me or denounce me when they know what and will know what they stand for.
This guy's like, hey, this Canadian's not that Canadian.
Are you still going to use your fight time to kind of speak on that?
Here's the thing about Bud Light. 10 years ago, to be trans was a mental fucking illness. And now all of a sudden, people like you have fucking weaseled your way into the world. You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of fucking you. And the best thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your fucking bullshit you're fucking peddling. The world is not saying, you know what? You're right. Fucking chicks have dicks. The world's not saying that. The world's saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could fuck in school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their sexual preference. Like, dude, this guy is the fucking enemy. You want to look at the fucking enemy to our world? It's that motherfucker right there, asking these stupid fucking questions. Sorry, I told the UFC I was being nicer. Lance, am I still good with this? Did I cross any lines? A little. What the fuck? I didn't say the F word. You just brought this fucking guy in here to piss me off.
You just did, but just to follow up, I mean, Rick.
Did I say it?
You just did.
No, I didn't say it.
Right there, you did.
Different F word. Yeah. I'm trying to be good, man. I'm trying to be good. I like the fucking gays. Here's the thing. I've never. You guys think I've ever shit on a gay man or shit on a gay woman? I don't fucking. I like the gays. It's fucking freedom. We still have it in America. We'll teach you about it. You guys don't have fucking freedom of speech. I'm surprised what I'm saying is probably gonna get fucking. I'm probably gonna get the fucking Canadian government to arrest me. So I don't give a fuck who you fuck. I don't give a fuck what you want to do in life. But don't tell kids about it. Don't teach that shit in fucking school. Don't fucking push your agenda. Don't try to fucking brainwash people. Don't try to go past parents. Don't try to go up past all this shit and brainwash people.
Here's yet another example of how pointless it is to hold media conferences when they turn into a waste of time. With activists pretending to be journalists and pushing their agendas instead of asking meaningful questions.
Dana, I just want to go back. You were talking about you obviously give a long leash to your fighters about, what they can say when they are up there with a UFC microphone and you are getting into territory of homophobia, transphobia. Like, is there...
I don't give anybody a leash.
Well, I'm saying you...
A leash?
Like...
Free speech. I control what people say. Gonna tell people what to believe. Gonna tell people... I don't fucking tell any other human being what to say, what to think, and there's no leashes on any of them. What is your question?
I was asking that question. I'll move on, though.
Yeah, probably a good idea. That's ridiculous to say I give somebody a leash. Free speech, brother. People can say whatever they want and they can believe whatever they want. And I don't think there's any... We had two gay women who fought in the co-main event. They sat on the stage with Sean Strickland. They could give a shit what Sean Strickland thinks or what he says or what his beliefs are or what his opinions are. You know what I mean?
Of all the interviewers out there, Krishnan Guru Murthy is arguably the most hated, as it seems none of his guests leave without being visibly annoyed by his idiotic questions. What's even more interesting is that he hasn't been fired from his job, as his absurd approach seems to be the very thing driving views for his network.
Okay, you're a good man. Do you have a significant other? Yes. Okay. Are there ever times where you have naughty thoughts?
Who's doing this interview?
No. Let's not get off of it. Let's be fair.
I would never answer a question like that.
You would never answer a question like that. And that's why that song needs to exist. You want to know why? Because there are certain people who are good people, good, upright, standing citizens who have thoughts, who feel funny and get uncomfortable when the camera's on them. See, you couldn't even answer that question. You love your significant other, but you can't even say out loud in front of the whole entire nation that sometimes you have naughty thoughts.
You don't know I have naughty thoughts. But anyway, we're getting off the point.
Wait, but I asked you though. if you can be a man and ask me about what my intentions were, why can't I ask you what your intentions are?
Because I'm the interviewer and you're the interviewee, and everybody's interested in you, the global superstar.
Right, and if they're interested in me,
the television
if they're interested in me, then they would want to hear what I think and what I think and what I feel. And so what I'm doing is I'm expressing what I think and what I'm feeling right now, and I'm only trying not to nail you, because I'm not gotcha and I'm not Mr. Aha. What I am is I'm just trying to justify my intention.
Last but not least, we have Vivek Ramaswamy facing a barrage of corrupt and repetitive questions from a journalist. After being annoyed for the fourth time by her persistence, Vivek didn't hold back and delivered a complete takedown, leaving her utterly owned.
You didn't say that you condemn white supremacy.
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which absolutely fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not. And frankly, this is why people have lost trust. And I know you're going to go print the headline tomorrow. I already know this. We already know how your game works. Vivek Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy because you asked a stupid question. The reality is, I condemn vicious racial discrimination in this country, but the kind of vicious and systematic racial discrimination we see today is discrimination on the basis of race in a very different direction. You want to know what the best way is to end discrimination on the basis of race? Stop discriminating on the basis of race. Do that and we're going to move this country forward. And I don't care whether you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite this country. You people have been responsible for dividing this country to a breaking point, creating a projection of national division. I meet people from the south side of Chicago to meetings like this one of every shade of melanin, multiple, from man to woman, doesn't make a difference, who are hungry for reviving unity in this country. And you, with your catechism that you try to get to politicians to whatever fake headline you're going to print on the basis of this conversation tomorrow, that's what's dividing this country to a breaking point. Shame on you. Look people in the eye and tell them what you've actually failed to tell them for the last 5 years. Own the accountability for your own failures as the media. That's how we rebuild trust in this country. And until then, I don't have a lot of patience to play the games.